This is Sarah, and I want to talk about decay, mildew, rot, mold. The wind has finally calmed down, kind of. It has been a unfairly windy spring so far. There's a lot of life going on in the Sprinkle Palace right now. There's just as much death. I do have to say that as a disclaimer. But there are a lot of new sprouts coming back. The tomato plants that are in the Sprinkle Palace are the children of Sprinkle's prime. They were planted back in 2022. This is their third year, so the blossoms that they are producing now are their third year blossoms, which is amazing to me. The death part, the other half of it. For the majority of 2023, we had these mature, very productive basil plants, mainly on the right side of the greenhouse. We were like a font of basil. We were a pesto palace. None of the basil plants made it. Something happened over the winter. We weren't able to weatherproof it quite as well this season, and while the tomatoes seem to do fine, we did get one really strong freeze that just pushed everything past its limit. I had to pull all 10 of those basil plants out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'll say 10 for good measure. That side of the greenhouse is now empty and ready to receive new life, which is really exciting and cool. I haven't seen it open and spacious in this way since we originally constructed it. The thing that I encountered for the first time as of, like, this winter is mildew, decay, rot. Generally in the winter, the plants die back a little bit. The entire plant doesn't necessarily stay perfectly healthy. Branches tend to wither, a lot of the leaves die, but the core plant tends to stick it out and then they recover in the spring once it starts warming up. Normally, all of this dead growth kind of just sheds down into the bag, but this time it did something different. The withered leaves and branches kind of got really dark and they accumulated this really strange, smoky, poofy, fluffy stuff on them, which the internet has kind of informed me that this is in fact mildew. It's like powdered mildew. And it's really creepy because when you kind of, jostle the plant a little bit, it dislodges into the air and it creates like a blanket of thick smoke almost, like a fog. And it doesn't dissipate, it kind of just hangs there. So, while cleaning and trimming and moving the dead branches out of the greenhouse, I made sure to kind of suit up in this hazmat situation where I had a really good dust mask on and PPE from COVID era, just kind of, on my bod. I think that this is interesting because I've been playing a lot of Monster Hunter lately. There is an entire area in that game called the Rotten Vale, which is a bunch of decaying creatures, but also very sickly, planty plant life too. There's actually a cutscene in the game where your character touches something that has what looks to be the same type of mildew. And when your character kind of diddles it a little bit, all of this, dust dislodges into the air and they react to it kind of startled. And it was the exact same sort of experience I had recently had for the first time. I felt called out or seen by the video game because I was like, ah yes, I I know of the, the white powdery stuff. Ghostly, smoky, vaporeal, vapory qualities. A result of decay, basically. I didn't get too much footage cleaning the greenhouse because it felt like a chore that just needed to get done. However, all of the time that I spent at night running around in the Rotten Vale in Monster Hunter kind of feels like a good illustration of what that was like. So I will show that. The majority of the creepy, rotten, decayed, dead branch die-off has been removed. There's a massive pile of it in the middle of the yard that I had been dragging everything out to. The wind is gonna help me clear out a lot of the bits that are left. And the next step is to go to the nursery and pick out some new babies that will live in the inside the house plant base for the summer, because it's not safe for anything outside during the summer here, let alone baby plants. And then retool the plant nursery so that it's optimized based on our previous experience, as you do. As of now, which again, this is mid-April, I have not run across any caterpillars anywhere, and it might not be their time to come out yet, but I miss them. The caterpillars have been my company in the lab while I work for the past couple years now, and I feel their absence. And I'm set up this year as such that now that I have like a new workspace in the lab, there's kind of a dedicated caterpillar station. I had been calling it last year the Larva Lounge. Once I find caterpillars, I am going to stream working on my comic or painting or doing whatever it is that I'm doing in conjunction with my caterpillar cam, which is set up and ready to go. So I always get really excited when I find my first caterpillars of the season, because that means that my greenhouse is doing well. It's the biggest compliment in the world, or at least I see it that way. And so far, there isn't a whole lot of like tiny fauna in there yet, and I know that it might have something to do with the mildew, it might have something to do with there being just so much a die-off after this winter. I'm hoping that now that I've cleaned a lot of that out, that this alleviates the problem and I start seeing the little creatures return, because I really do appreciate their presence. They bring a lot of joy to my life.
She's making new babies.
And it's spring. Ah! We're just gonna keep celebrating Nowruz until it gets hot. I think that's fair. So that's plans for the future. But until my next video, keep making awesome stuff out there, and as always, thank you for watching.